Have you ever looked at all those different Bible translations on your phone or in a bookstore or at the Walmart and wondered which one you should be reading? Well, stick around because today we're going to look at different versions of the Bible, talk about some of the differences between them, and I'm going to share with you my top 3 Bible translations for 2018. Chances are if your grandfather had a Bible, it was the King James Version. Now the KJV, the King James Version of the Bible, was translated in 1611 and it was the official Bible of the Church of England. Now according to a 2017 survey of the most read versions of the Bible, the King James comes in at number 1. It's 31%. Lots of people are still reading the King James Bible. In second place on that list was the New International Version, or the NIV Bible, and that came in at 13%. The NIV is the thought-for-thought translation, and this means that the translators took groups of words, sections, ideas, and they translated the meaning of that into the English language in a way that English readers can probably understand better. A lot of times these versions, the NIV, the NLT, are easier for us to read, but some people and some scholars would argue that they're not as accurate because they take whole phrases and thoughts instead of word-for-word translations. Now, oddly enough, neither of these two top-selling Bibles of 2017 make my list of top 3 Bible translations for 2018. King James Version and NIV are both great versions. A lot of people read them. The first one on my list actually came in at number 3 on this survey with only 9% of Americans reading it, and that is the English Standard Version. Now the ESV is a revision from the Revised Version. It's a descendant of the King James Version of the Bible, and it is a word-for-word translation. It was first published in 2002, and it's been kind of my go-to translation for the last few years for most of what I do. Being a word-for-word translation means that it's a great Bible to use when you're studying the Word of God, forming your doctrine and stuff like that, because the words are taken word for word from the original languages. The second Bible on my list would be the New Living Translation. The NLT was first published in 1996 and it's a thought-for-thought translation of the Bible. This means that generally it's easier for us as English readers to read because the phrases are phrased in such a way that the sentence structure makes sense to us. The NLT was used at East Hills Alliance Church, a church I was at recently, and I think it's a very readable, very usable version of the Bible. Now, because the NLT is a thought-for-thought translation and not a word-for-word translation, I wouldn't recommend it being your only Bible or the Bible you use for your main study. I'd recommend a word-for-word translation for that, but it is a very readable, very good version of the Bible. A lot of young people like this. My daughter is reading an NLT right now, and I think that's great because it provides readability and it gets her into the Word of God. The third Bible on my list is the New American Standard Bible. This is a word-for-word translation that was translated in 1971. It's been around for a while. It's trusted by a lot of people, and I love it. One reason that I love this Bible is that it is the Bible that my youth pastor used when I was in high school. So I have a copy of the NASB that I have had since I was 16 years old, so it kind of has a sentimental spot in my heart. This is also the Bible that I'm using this year as I read through the Bible devotionally, and in my Bible reading I'm using the NASB. It is also the version that my pastor at Alliance Bible Church uses, so it's the one we use most Sundays there, and it's just a great word-for-word translation. It can be sometimes a little tricky to read because it is word-for-word, but that's why a lot of times when I study I'll have multiple versions. That's really easy on your phone. You just swipe and tap. You can read the NASB and the NLT, read them side by side and compare them. So those are my top 3 Bible translations that I'm reading this year. So what's your favorite version of the Bible? I'd love to have you let me know down in the comments below. And really, for me, it comes down to something that you're going to be able to read and understand. If you're going to read something like the NLT and NIV, just know that it is a thought-for-thought translation, and you might need to look things up in the NASB or the ESV or the King James Version if you want to do some comparisons. I wouldn't base deep theology on what the NLT says, but it's a great translation for reading. So I would encourage you, whatever you choose, to get into the Bible. For some reason, I think it's a good idea to head downtown to make these videos, but I never give myself very much time. Trying to get back to work by about 9:30 today so I can get into work, going to youth conference this weekend. But let me know if you think it was worth it for me to drive down to Portland to get some of those shots, or if I should have just stood here in my office the whole time. Anyways, thank you guys so much for checking out the video. I hope you have a great week as you walk the journey towards Jesus. I forgot my outro. Peace out, Rainbow Trout. To subscribe, click on the circle on the left. To check out our friend's channel, click that circle on the right. To watch a video that YouTube thinks you should watch, click that box in the middle. And if you want to learn more about supporting me on Patreon, click the link in the description.